Yeah, it's cash. Get him. DJ Deuce McGuire, this hot as a log fire. Spark the lighter in the 303. We wrestle at the Quarry. Golden, Colorado. Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy. Elevated wrestling. Yeah. Hashtag follow if you know the motto. Can't stop now. Got the need for speed. Combustion and concussion. Championships in my vision. I put the key in the ignition. Such an easy decision. I got a hustler's ambition. Wrestling at its best. Welcome to the show I put on for Rocky Mountain Pro. Let's go.
RMP Radio is on the air. Hi, I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and joining me once again here on RMP Radio, I have Mercury Matt Yaden. Mercury Matt Yaden, how you doing?
I am great. How are you doing, Artie?
I am doing just fine. I am hoping that the winter weather is going to dissipate, and we're going to finally get into spring here in Colorado. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're coming out of it. It's about 41 today. Sun's out, though. I don't really mind when it's cold, even into the teens when the sun's out. It just doesn't quite affect you as much when you got some sun beating down on you. But I'm okay with the cold, and I don't hate the snow. I don't mind it. I'd prefer not to have it around. I've had enough of it, I think. And when I say that, though, I'm from Ohio, so yeah. Compared to that snow, it's really never bad, and it's never around long. So yeah. I'm with you, however. I would like to get into spring. I don't know. The time between spring and fall is my favorite seasons out here. So
yeah, and then you like me, are a big baseball fan, so spring is hope's eternal. We're just it's like, come on, it's February, it's spring training in March. Now now April, let's play ball.
You know what? That's actually a good point. So maybe spring would win as far as my favorite, only because baseball's just starting and there's still hope for the Rockies. Normally by fall, all hope has been gone since July. So spring edges it out a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So true. All right. So hey, a couple things we can talk about. I talked about a few about this from a few the people from Rocky Mountain Pro. The most recent Pepsi Center outing just came out fantastic. How'd it go for you personally?
It was a huge achievement company wide. So if we boil it down to me personally, I would say the same thing. Yeah. A big personal achievement for me, but the amount of people that it took to make that happen as well as it did. I mean, I think all of us would say it was a personal high in definitely our wrestling careers, but our lives. Like, that's a cool thing to be able to say you've done. And talking to the talent and the producers, with Stevie and JT and Chris and Kelly and all the guys kind of behind the scenes. That kind of explained what going out onto that turf, setting that thing up, looking up to see 6,000 plus filing into the stands there. It was a pretty surreal experience for everybody. I have to say the number one thing I've done in pro wrestling still thus far has to be that Make-A-Wish we did at Mountain Vista High School. I mean, that was something that will be really, really hard to top. It was the first Make-A-Wish we ever got to grant. But the Pepsi Center's right there with it, because we were also able to grant another Make-A-Wish to a 3.5-year-old young man whose dream was to get in a wrestling ring, and Gregory Iron was able to do that. And the story of Gregory Iron at Pepsi Center and getting into pro wrestling and what he said that meant to me was probably the coolest thing of the night was Greg explaining that what it meant to him being able to not just wrestle at the Pepsi Center in an environment like that, but being able to grant that Make-A-Wish to that young man. So all in all, it was definitely a high for all of us, and it was an incredible night and one of the best in my 19 years so far doing this.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that. I mean, how was that? Great ambassador Gregory Iron. To be the ambassador, to do that for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, with his wrestling career and what he's his trial and tribulations for his professional wrestling career, and I believe he's a Ohio guy, Midwest guy like yourself. So there's
Right.
that great connection, as well as the great involvement of the Mammoth too at the Pepsi Center this time around. As getting into the ring, the Wooly and the Mammoth players escorting him and everything. I mean, it was just a fantastic night all around.
I believe so, and the reason that we had such success there and so many people stayed to watch the wrestling was because the Colorado Mammoth gave us their full support, and they let us know that they appreciated us being there, and they treated us very well, and they took care of us, and they promoted it very hard. And the first time we did it, it's the second time we worked with the Mammoth to wrestle on the turf at the Pepsi Center. The first time was another great experience, and we were honored to be there, and it was a huge night for all of us. The struggle is we didn't get any promotion during the game. So except for us having the table and having guys out there in their gear kind of pushing that there was going to be pro wrestling after the show, it was tough to reach 12, 13,000 people just by foot, where we didn't get any promotion into the arena itself. So we probably had I think about 800 to 900 that stayed the first time, but then it took so long for us to get the ring set up. They had to do the autograph signing on the field, and that took about a half hour, and then I had to wait to pull the ring in or to back the ring in until the visiting team's bus left. So there was just a lot of logistical stuff that we hadn't worked out yet that first go-round. Yeah. We lost half that crowd by the time we got the ring up and were able to go wrestle. However, we did well, and it was still a great experience, and the team impressed the Mammoth, our team, and the crew. So that led to us talking about doing it again, this time making a themed night out of it, which is what they did. And if you were there,
yeah.
The whole night they were playing pro wrestling themes between periods and after goals and penalties, things like that. They gave it the whole theme, and then they played us on Pepsi Vision throughout the night to let people know, hey, there's going to be pro wrestling on the field after this, and you saw the monumental difference in the turnout for that. So we were very, very blessed and humbled that the Mammoth took that much effort into promoting us, and I'm very proud of all the talent, all the producers, and everybody on the Rocky Mountain Pro side that showed them that their trust was placed well, and they went out and delivered. And I think the ring went up in 15 minutes, went down in about 15 minutes. The production team got the stuff up way faster than I would have ever expected them to be able to. Just all in all, it was an amazing effort. And then the Gregory Iron piece, again, just you talked about what a great ambassador, not just in pro wrestling, but just in hard work and what it's like when you really do set your sights on something and don't let your limitations stop you from achieving what you really want to achieve. So I could obviously, as you can tell, I could talk about this for the next couple hours. Like, it was such a great experience for all of us. So
yeah, and I bet you're excited for the next time.
Absolutely. I mean, there's talk about doing this again, and hopefully on our end, I'm hoping to make this at least an annual thing with the Colorado Mammoth. And the funny thing is about that, and I said this to them when we first worked with them, when I started NRW before it became Rocky Mountain Pro, as we were moving along, and I was trying to kind of study minor league baseball and how they promote, how they do things, and I looked at the Denver Outlaws and the Colorado Mammoth, lacrosse, one's indoor, one's outdoor, and I had been to a Mammoth game, I think in 07, 08, somewhere around there, and I thought pro wrestling out here could be very similar to like indoor or outdoor lacrosse. They've got their own rabid fan bases, and it's kind of a niche thing, but it's a niche thing that if you introduce people to it that don't understand what it is or haven't seen it, a lot of the times you can get them hooked and you'll create fans out of them. And I just thought, the Mammoth has become such a staple here in Denver and in Colorado by being an indoor lacrosse team, which I didn't know indoor lacrosse was a thing until I saw the Mammoth. So I went to a Mammoth game, and the place is packed, and each time you go there, they've got I think between 8 and 15,000 people that show up to the Mammoth games. We can do the same thing, I believe. And I looked for several years at the Mammoth as kind of my example and kind of how do I make it work like they have? And then it turns out I end up partnering with them anyway. So it's kind of cool. It means a lot to me personally that we've been able to broker this deal and build that bridge between us and a major sports franchise here in Denver.
Right, yeah, and you mentioned something I was going to ask you about. You said something about minor league baseball and how they do their promotions. They, in my opinion, minor league teams do a lot of fantastic promotions because they have to. It's just it's a necessary thing to get people out to see the games, and they're unique. I don't know how many minor league games you've gone to and seen those, but would you agree?
Absolutely, and that's it. My idea for minor league baseball just came in when I was still in college. I was going to Metro, and some of the sports marketing classes that I would take, minor league baseball was really kind of focused on heavily because they're so good at promotion and not just giving you a baseball game. They give you an experience,
right?
And that's the difference. I mean, and you're right, because they have to. Like, they really got to make it an experience for you to go out there. And and Major League Baseball does that too. I mean, you go to a Rockies game, they have the races, and they have all the stuff up on the big screen, and Excel Energy and the sponsors kind of get involved to kind of keep you engaged. But there's just something about minor league baseball and the way that they have to promote that makes it special. And I think we can learn a lot from the way minor league baseball, or really any minor league or semi-professional sport, does it, because your promotional tactics have to be different than the major sports organizations that kind of already have that foothold. They already have that brand recognition. They have the big names. So I learned a lot from looking at that, and we still have a lot to do, obviously, to continue growing. But we're always on the lookout for these examples and these ideas that we can then put into the world of professional wrestling on the local level and blow this thing up to where we could be as well known as the Mammoth are out here. Right.
Yeah. I agree. I'd love to see that. All right. So, hey, another thing I'd like to talk to you about, if people are not familiar with the Colorado area, the Denver, Colorado area, and specifically the Jefferson County area, one of the big things, Rocky Mountain Pro is headquartered. The Quarry is in the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, and one of the hot topics that's happening out there is that just basically a budget shortfall of not knowing if the Jefferson County Fairgrounds are going to be able to stay open or what they're going to do and all that kind of stuff. How's that affecting you, and have you attended some of the public hearings and meetings they've had on that?
So it does obviously affect us to a great degree. We have been with the fairgrounds now for almost 4 years. It's a great home. You've been in the building so many times, you can attest to what a great venue that is for what we do. And, we don't want to lose that. We did a lot to it. We painted it. We put the flooring down. Like you saw it when it was just a livestock arena. And so we take pride in that place, and we feel like we're part of the fairgrounds, not just somebody that rents facilities from the fairgrounds. We're there every day of the week. Twice a month we're there, whether it's with Rocky Mountain Pro or with Hugo's Lucha Libre, working there with us too. So once that was put out there, and I saw the articles in the news coverage, I've had some talks and I've asked some questions, and I can only get so much information. But I did attend the public hearing on Monday of this week, which would have been, I believe, to get the date, it's Monday the 24th of February. I went and I sat and I listened, and the fairground staff was there, and I can't say enough good things about them and how supportive they are of us as tenants there, but everybody, the Westernaires and everyone that uses the facility, and every seat was full in that public hearing room. So the community really came out in support of keeping the fairgrounds, and they were allowing people to, it was about 3 minutes or so. You could go talk to the county commissioners and explain to them why you think the fairgrounds shouldn't close. And, choke you up a little bit. Listen to a lot of this, because the 4-H there and the Westernaires, they they give so many opportunities in the world of the equine community with horses and
Yeah.
and then the livestock. It's an emergency. It's an emergency evacuation center for the animals, and we get a lot of those fires there throughout the foothills, Conifer and places like that. So sitting and listening to people explain the benefits and the necessity of the fairground, it was eye-opening for me of how much that facility really does do. And then a lot of children went up and spoke, hearing the parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles of kids that have benefited heavily from the Western Airs, who were very heavily represented, and kind of what this would do for them if they were to lose the facility, because that's not an easy thing to administrate, and it's not an easy thing to do, because you need a specific type of space and a specific amount of space and places to keep the horses. And it was pretty humbling, and it was an emotional hearing, and a lot of people put everything out there. And I had the opportunity to speak to as a private business owner there. And basically what I was trying to get them to see was I'm one example of someone from the private world that can come into the facility and help them regain some of the funds that it takes for them to operate the fairground. So, well, hopefully they took it and we'll think about it. I mean, my testimony was nowhere nearly as powerful as these parents and grandparents, aunts, uncles, like I was saying, and people that run the Western Airs. And it was great to hear, and it was great to see the communities still stick together and will fight for what they believe in and what they think is best for their community. So it was. I was glad that I was able to be a part of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and like you said, even though Rocky Mountain Pro has only been there for a few years, I mean, I would assume that you believe that Rocky Mountain Pro is part of that Jefferson County Fairgrounds community. So you probably have met some of these people that use the facilities as well.
Yeah, we'll see people walking around, and a lot of times it's just kind of a hi, how you doing, and
yeah.
But I see them there. The CSU extension is there. The Sparta Combat League has started doing their fights there up at the larger arena every few months. So my plea to the commissioners was, hey, don't do this yet. Like, give it some time. I know they got budgets, and I even told them I've never sat in your position, so I can't speak from that. But I can say, if you can, give it some time. Reach out, try to find more businesses that would be willing to come rent some of the facilities on a more consistent basis, because I know that there are plenty of people looking for office space to do work. There's a lot of those rent an office for a day facilities out there that people will rent an office for 6 to 8 hours. There's a lot of office space there on the fairgrounds that I think they could do stuff like that. Venues like mine, using our venue a little bit more for some other things. Like, there's a lot of options there, and we feel like we're a part of the fairgrounds. We work very closely with them, and they treat us very well. So we'll do our best to help save the place.
Right. Yeah. It's and like you said, it's nothing decided. It's just something that's being looked at, being publicized in the news media and all that stuff like that. So I just thought I'd give a quick look at it for the listeners to see how it's being in the Rocky Mountain Pro world of how it's affecting you, or what your guys' thought process on all that is.
Well, to rest assured that the entire fairgrounds, including us, won't go down without a fight. If it does come to them no longer operating and we have to leave, then we will find another facility, and we will continue on with training and live events, TV, and we will carry on no matter what happens. I just would prefer that we don't have to leave the fairgrounds, because again, it's home. Like, we feel we put a lot into that place, and we would like to stay there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and like I said, personally for me, it's where I pretty much have known you. I attended one event at Nighthawk Brewery, and then the rest has been at the Quarry. So
Old Nighthawk Brewery, which I don't think is around anymore either. I don't think they're still operating out of there. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Well, so last time we talked, Rocky Mountain Pro was on a weekly taping schedule, and that did shift with the beginning of the new year. New TV format going 2 to 3 times a month now. How's that change been for you guys? Beneficial, I would assume.
It's been. I guess it really depends on how you look, like where you're looking at the benefit. So beneficial, yes, in the amount of kind of stress and work that the production team had to put into doing it every week, and the amount of stress and work that the talent especially at this level, once you go from a couple times a month, maybe 2 to 3 times a month, to guaranteed 4 because you're going weekly, and then all the other shows. There were months where we had a month where we had 12 shows last year in 1 month. So just the insane amount of workload and stress on everyone from production to talent was tough. Now that being said, everybody from production to talent improved immensely over the year of 2019.
Yeah,
they were able to on the talent side. They were working TV every week. They were getting reps in every week. They were learning how to market themselves every week, and they were getting a taste of what that entails when you're doing it weekly and when you're doing it for TV, and it's a totally different animal. So they got a lot of great experience. So in that regard, it benefits us more to do it weekly. It's just you have to weigh the benefits versus the cost of trying, and I'm not just talking financial costs, but I'm talking about emotional costs, stress, and just workload for people to do it at the level you're at. So we decided we would back off, and we ran almost 90 shows last year.
Right.
So we backed off a little bit. We went back to a former format, which was you're going to tape 2 to 3 at a time from the Quarry in Golden, and we're still airing them weekly, so you're still getting the weekly content out there. It's now a 1-hour program instead of 2, and there's benefits to that as far as when you're booking people, people maybe being able to take a little bit more time in training before they're out there trying to compete in front of a live audience. It just gives us some more flexibility in how we book talent, how we produce the show. So I guess it really just depends on where you're looking at. All in all, definitely more beneficial. I think we're going to have a better turnout to each show. We've seen that in the first couple of months.
Right.
When you're doing it once a month from there. We are still running at Bierstadt Lager House, formerly known as the Rack House. We still tape those as well. So some of those matches you might see end up on the weekly airing of the television show. So we're trying to get smart about how we maximize the facilities that we're at and the amount of times we're running without burning everybody out, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Right. Yeah. I see that. And the plan still is pretty much like at the end of the month, the show at Bierstadt to be kind of like the payoff, kind of like how Supercharged was kind of for the end of the month. Originally,
yes, when we were going weekly, but not now, because here's the thing: when you have multiple tapings in one night now, say we taped last Friday, right?
Yeah.
That's 3 weeks worth of TV. Well, you might end up with a Bierstadt Lager House show that we were intending to be kind of your weekly Supercharge, monthly Supercharge, but it's going to fall in the middle of the weekly airing.
Yeah.
So it kind of throws everything off. For the live audience, there's probably ways of doing it, but right now it just seems easier for us to leave I'm going to say Rack House for a while. It was like when we changed RW to Rocky Mountain Pro. It took me a while. But when we're at Bierstadt Lager House, it gives us some options. It gives us some matchups that we might not be able to get. It gives us an opportunity to tape the fourth week, things like that. It gives us an opportunity to tape 2 at the Quarry and 2 at Bierstadt. So it really just depends on how we play this for maybe the next 6 months as to how we continue it. We're just trying to be smarter about how we're booking the TV show, how we're putting it out there. and kind of how everything lines up.
Right, like kind of how the calendar's falling too.
Right.
Because we got in the near future we've got Romero's to work in there a little bit too as well.
Yeah. Next month we're back to Romero's. We tried to keep the Romero shows the night after Rack House because we're already out of the Quarry, so we already have some of the equipment out. Right. So you do the two
shows.
The traveling show. Sorry, brain fart there.
Yeah.
The two traveling shows, brewery shows, I guess the way we could put it too. Back-to-back nights. Doesn't always work out that way, but for the most part, we were able to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. And then just to maybe kind of refresh the listeners, the shows have now been produced and are getting there out on Twitch and the other venues. So it's going out on Twitch on Sundays. Is that correct?
So Sundays from 3 to 5 Mountain Time, you get 2 episodes. So from 3 to 4, you get the previous airing. So, if we aired episodes 215 and 216, say, last week, then this week you would get episode 216 first and then 217. So you get last week's episode from 3 to 4, and then from 4 to 5 you get this week's episode, which is new. Followers and people that are just finding it on Twitch can watch that. If you are on a Twitch, however, which is $4.99 a month, or if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it to Twitch, and with Twitch Prime, you get it free. So you can subscribe to us for free each month. You got to renew it each month because it doesn't automatically renew. But if you do that, you get 100% commercial-free content, so you don't get the Twitch ads put in there. And you also can watch the television tapings live as they happen. So you can see all 3 episodes the night that they're taped if you're a subscriber on Twitch, plus have the live interaction with the commentary. And you get to see them, several weeks before everyone else gets to see the edited television version. So it's kind of cool, different ways to watch it. You also have to be a subscriber now to see the Beer Style Lager House shows and any of the live wrestling. Subscribers get that before everyone else.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Great. That sounds great. So yeah, definitely everybody do subscribe. If you have an Amazon Prime, you get it. Just make sure you get in there and set your subscription to Rocky Mountain Pro, or like you said, $4.99 standalone, a la carte.
Yeah, which is I think a good deal, and we're doing something different, and it's we're excited about it. And Twitch has been a great partner. And they're giving us their support, and it's been fun. So you can also find the show on the Fight app, FITE.tv. You know that app very well.
Yep.
And Impact Plus is still carrying charge. So if you have Impact Plus, you can also watch it there. And if you're out in the UK, the Fight Network UK is still carrying charge as well.
All right, great. All right, well, Matt, that is, I think, a great place to wrap it up. But before I do let you go, plug your social medias personally and Rocky Mountain Pro if they want to keep the update with everything that's going on.
Rocky Mountain Pro across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is the same. It's at the Rocky MTN Pro. So if you type it into the bar or on your computer, facebook.com/the Rocky MTN Pro, it'll take you right to the page, and the Rocky MTN Pro on Twitter and Instagram. Myself personally, at Mercury Yaden across all platforms as well. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's at Mercury Yaden. And as far as the website goes for Rocky Mountain Pro, rmpwrestling.com, and that's where you can find information on training at the Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling Academy, upcoming dates. If you go to the merch store, you can click on there, and we have our whole Amazon merch store there, so you can go get tons of merchandise out there now, tons of new designs, hoodies and pop sockets and T-shirts, long sleeve, everything. So that's where you can find everything Rocky Mountain Pro.
All right, awesome. All right, once again, Matt, I do appreciate you coming on, and I'll be, of course, catching up with you in a few days.
All right, I appreciate it, Artie. Thank you very much.
Once again, a big thank you to Mercury Matt Yaden for coming on to RMP Radio once again and stepping up to the plate and letting everybody know of the latest with happening with Rocky Mountain Pro with the new format, especially with Charged on Twitch and Fight TV, Fight Network UK, and of course ImpactPlus.tv. All right. Well, let's reiterate some of the things Matt already said, but we do go ahead and talk about this at the end of every RMP radio edition. And you want to get some merchandise from your favorite Rocky Mountain Pro superstars, head over to the rmpwrestling.com website, click on the merchandise link, or in your Amazon search bar, search for Rocky Mountain Pro. And you'll be able to find many different choices. And, of course, you can find yourself a Tag Dude shirt if you really want one. I've seen quite a few actually out there on social media, so they are a popular shirt, I must say. All right, upcoming events. Well, of course, we have one this Friday at the Bierstadt Lager House, formerly known as the Rack House, and I agree with Matt. It's going to be taking a while for us to not say Rack House and not being Rack House Rowdy, but it's a free event, of course. They just ask you to turn that money around that you would have purchased a ticket for, and spend that money on refreshments, and while you're at it, pick up some merchandise from your wrestlers there at the merchandise table, the merchandise booth. And then next week, Friday, is going to be the next set of Charged tapings. So you want to get tickets for that. Purchase them in advance. Save yourself a little bit of money. Just go to rmpwrestling.com, click on the events link, and you'll be able to do that right there. Like Matt said, you want to watch. Simple as going to twitch.tv/Rocky Mountain Pro. And you'll be able to subscribe there, like I said, $4.99 a month. Or if you have an Amazon Prime membership, you do get one subscription from there. Amazon kind of owns Prime. It's kind of part of their family. So if you do not have a subscription, we would love you to go ahead and use your subscription to subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro. It just helps things get bigger and better for Rocky Mountain Pro. Other than that, of course, you can catch on Fight TV, your app, through your phone, your tablet, Roku devices, and other devices. And then ImpactPlus.tv through the website or through the app. Fight Network UK as well. And also, I believe, on YouTube.com/Rocky Mountain Pro. Want to follow us? Everything does stem from the website at rmpwrestling.com. And on the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram, with all of the name of The Rocky MTN Pro. That, once again, phonetically spelling out that for you, The Rocky Mike Tango November Pro. Well, I want to thank you all for listening to this edition of RMP Radio, where pro wrestling is elevated.